Hey everybody, in this video you're going to learn how to create a beautiful spreadsheet every single time, and we're going to go through the process using this horrendous abomination right here. And we're going to go through step by step, and by the end you will know how to make beautiful spreadsheets every single time. And to make this easier, I've created a link down below to this spreadsheet so you can actually see the steps down here and you can just go through it on your own. There's also an article down below that explains the same process. You can bookmark that, come back to it later if you'd like. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do is correct the alignment. So I'm going to start up here with the header. I'm going to make all of that go left because all text should be left align and all numbers should be right align. So we're going to go ahead and do that with all this text. And then dates will be right align. And then we'll just go through here and do the rest of them. If it has text and a number, make that left align. The text will win out on that one. Okay, so that was step one, make the text align correctly. So all text goes left, numbers align right. Try to avoid any centering of content. Next, we're going to distinguish the headers. So there's a number of ways that we can do this. We can either make the font bigger, or we can make it bold, or you can do both. I prefer to just make it bold. So now we have a little bit more separation between the headers and the data. Next, we're going to get rid of all these colors. You always want fewer colors and less neonic colors. Never use a neonic color unless you're forced to because it's your brand color or something like that. But in most situations, you never want to use that neonic yellow type of color that I just showed, or a bright red, or even like a neonic green. Just keep it as basic as possible. And you also never want to use more than 3 colors total on the entire worksheet. Next, we're going to add a little bit of spacing here. So up here on column A, we're going to insert a column to the left. So we now have a new column there. And then on row 1, we're going to insert 1 row above. And I'll just go ahead and remove this empty space. I'll tighten that up just a little bit. And now we have a little bit more room to breathe. So the data is not completely left aligned with the first column. Just have a little bit more space. Next, I want to get rid of all of the grid lines and borders. So I'm going to do a Command A. I am on a Mac. I'm going to come to View, Show. I'm going to check off grid lines, and then I'm going to come to the borders and then remove all of those borders. We're going to add some light gray zebra stripes across the text. We're going to come up to Format, and this is in Google Sheets. We're going to come to Alternating Colors. There is no header for this one. We're going to just keep the header as bold, but if I wanted to have a header, I would select the header as well. And I'm just going to use this super light gray. The default gray that it comes with is nice. And now we have a little bit more separation from the data in the headers. All right, so it's easier to read horizontally. Next, we want to change the font to something a little bit less intense than Courier. I recommend using either Arial or Calibri. So let's use Arial for this. That one looks nice, easy to read. Next, we're going to center the title. So we're going to click with a left click on the title that I had here. And then we're going to drag all the way across and then just do a merge. So now that's centered across all of the data. Next, we're going to adjust the row and column width. I'm going to do this just by site. So I want it to look so that there's enough space for every element without too much space. Kind of scroll down and make sure everything looks good. And we're also going to hide all of this empty data. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to choose delete columns. So now it's a little bit tighter. Next, we're going to freeze this header row. So I'm going to select the header. I'm going to right click. I'm going to come down to freeze up to row 4. Now when they scroll, the header will stay there, but the data below it will move. This makes it much easier to read. The whole purpose of creating the spreadsheet is to make it look professional, but also make the data easier to consume. Okay, next, if you have a lot of worksheets like this one, you will, as a nice little touch, just add colors. So for example, I can make this first one, I can right click on it, change color, I can make it yellow. That's just a nice little extra touch. So here is the end product, much easier to read. And here's our original with the very aggressive yellow and gray The font is a little bit harder to read. It doesn't distinguish itself well. This is much better looking. All right, guys, again, if you want, there is a link to this. Just come to File, make a copy, and then rename it and edit. And you can edit that once you make a copy. Also, I've linked to an article that explains this process in more detail. All right, if this is your first time to the channel, be sure to like and subscribe, and we will see you in the next video.